In this installment of How RV Things Work, we're going to be looking at this Shurflo 4008 series water pump. This is a very common water pump for both RVs and boats, and if you don't have this particular pump in your RV, you're going to have one probably similar. First thing about these pumps is that they are repairable. So if your pump goes bad, you can get a repair kit for the diaphragm, for the switch, and a few other parts, so no need to throw it away. On the bottom of the pump, we have these rubberized feet, which of course helps with isolating any vibration. There are two wires that come out of the pump. Of course, these are the wires for the motor. The red wire goes up front to a switch, and then it returns to go to the battery. And this is a pressure switch. This is the item that turns your pump on and off. And if you find that your pump cycles on and off, especially during the night when nobody's using it and it shouldn't, that may be an indication you have a small leak in your RV plumbing system somewhere. So that's a real good telltale. According to the label, the shut-off pressure is 55 psi, flow is 3 gallons per minute, and you should have a 10 amp fuse. And this is some of the spare parts that I carry along. This is a 55 psi switch kit, and this is a spare diaphragm with O-rings. I also carry a spare water strainer. Depending on how the manufacturer of your RV outfitted the system, they may or may not have included the strainer, but virtually all of the RVs I've seen include a strainer. It should go into the inlet. And by the way, some of these pumps have quick disconnects on the ends, where this one is pipe threads. Now, one thing you want to do periodically, especially when the trailer is new, because you can get from the manufacturing process some gunk in the water lines, and minimum at least once a year, take the strainer out and clean it. And also, when you winterize your RV, don't forget to put a little antifreeze in the pump. Now, I know there's a big controversy between, is blowing the lines out sufficient or should you use antifreeze? Well, here's an example where antifreeze may actually work better. When you have this pump setting in your RV and you blow the lines out, you're not going to get all the water out of this. However, if it's only half full of water, it probably won't damage anything when it freezes, because as long as the water has one direction to expand, the ice should follow that path and not crack it. But that's theory, and nature is unpredictable. But if you ran antifreeze through here, then of course you're going to totally protect this. These are fairly inexpensive. I think they're under $10, so if you don't have one in your RV, just go buy one, because it will help protect your pump as well. And here we have the diaphragm. So we have our diaphragm. This is the back side. And this is the front side, and then we just have a shaft here. Now, I have a 3 amp power supply, which certainly is not enough to run this pump in operation, but this is going to be running without load, so we'll just see if this will work. And this diaphragm is actually on an eccentric, so we'll just see what the action looks like. All right. As you can see, the eccentric is pushing these in and out. Maybe you can see it better from the side. You can certainly see it a little bit easier when it turns off. So that's basically how this thing works. As this spins around, there is a mechanism in here that pushes up on each one of these individually. And that's how the pump action works. And then with the valve cover, there's one-way valves in here. Each one of these is a little rubber piece of valve cover, And we have on this side as well, it appears. So this is a one-way valve set. And finally, we'll look at the on-off switch. And there's a diaphragm here as well. And it's just a micro switch, it sounds, that has got a spring behind it. And so that's pretty simple. And there's also the pressure relief valve. So that if this doesn't work, it will relieve the pressure at some point. When you buy this pump, you get a detailed manual with an exploded parts breakdown and the part numbers and everything. Of course, that's first thing you lose. And if the manufacturer installed it, they probably didn't give you the manual anyway, because they buy these things in OEM packaging usually, which means they come into a box and there's a multiple in the box, 12 or 24 or whatever. Well, they don't ship 12 or 24 instructions along with this. They may ship one. However, you can go online and you can usually get the manual. So remember, if you have a pump like this and it gives you a problem, don't throw it away. Repair it. Visit rv-project.com.